Hey everybody, Adam Savage and Norm Chan in the cave. We are not doing another video about Gary Fay's amazing finger extensions, but we want to talk about them and some other stuff that's been happening on the channel.
Yeah, if you haven't seen this video, we shot this a couple years ago. Gary Fay is an incredible artist who designs and fabricates these finger extensions, right? And he's had all these incredible designs.
He made a set for Lady Gaga.
Exactly.
He got a lot. And one of the things we love most about having this channel, having this platform, is being able to celebrate creators like Gary, highlight their creations, let them talk about it, really, really give them a launching point. And we can have a lot of effect on their ability to sell their stuff, which is really exciting.
Yeah, after the video came out, which did very well for us, it also brought a lot of attention to Gary. He got a lot of orders, but then a phenomenon started happening.
Yeah, counterfeits started to show up. Now, Gary 3D prints and assembles all these himself. Within a very short period of time, some folks around the Pacific Rim were injection molding cheaper, less complex versions of Gary's fingers and then using pictures of our video to sell them on other major retailers.
Yeah. It's a thing that we have become aware of, and that type of behavior has started happening a little more recently. It's the reason we're doing this video today.
And I want to stress, like, this has always been going on to some certain extent. When I worked in the toy industry in the 90s, it was well known that if you had a phenomenal toy, you had to be ready to hit the market with it and have your first year's worth of production ready, because in China, they were going to be running a second set of tools and selling them to a neighboring factory. Like, that is just sort of the cost of business back 25 years ago in manufacturing stuff. But now it's hit much more niche makers and niche markets, and that's why we're talking about this.
Yeah, and there's one specific example that we were brought attention to. A lot of viewers out there have reached out, and we are trying to take action on it, but there was a model kit for a miniature engine that you assembled a couple of years ago. And
the company that made it originally, I think they reached out to us and asked if I wanted one. I said yes. I spent a lovely few hours building it here and thought, oh, this is a fun desk toy. I talked about it honestly.
Yeah.
And now there's like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of storefronts all over the web selling cheaper, even crappier versions of this engine. Some of them cast in like a hard clay.
That's the thing that blows my mind. Like
using my face to sell, using my face with the engine to sell it.
Yeah, and then there are a couple of things going on here. One, obviously we're not endorsing these products.
No,
right?
No.
We're curious about them. We want to check them out. We're going to be honest about how we're showing these. They're not sponsored videos at all. They have no permission to use those images.
That's correct.
And especially the people not making that product at all.
Yeah.
Second, we're also aware that sometimes these products are like white label products. Or a manufacturer might be making something interesting, and there might be a bunch of different retailers selling the same thing. Like, that is absolutely a phenomenon that happens. What happened here was it wasn't even one of those. It was a derivative of that, making, like you said, a really crappy, completely scammy, injection molded thing that wasn't even representative of the thing that you put together.
And then we've been getting tons and tons of emails from people helpfully letting us know, but we wanted to talk about just some mitigating strategies for being a slightly more informed consumer. We get scammed all the time as well as we're buying stuff. You were telling me you've got a fake tracking number.
Oh my
recently.
gosh! Like, I mean, hopefully this is a little bit of like a therapy session, right? Because like over the past holidays, I'm getting targeted ads. Right? I'm on Instagram, social media, and I see something cool. And one of my strategies of late is I see a product and it might send me to a website. Like, I'm thinking, one, is this just an imported version that's being marked up?
Right.
I'm gonna try to see if this is a white label product. If it's a generic product, I can find maybe a better deal on, or find the source of maybe where the original design came from, if it came from an original creator. Do that the bit of Googling and legwork.
And there's also like, there's a ton of electronics out there that clearly the main heart of those electronics are being made in one factory and then being dressed for hundreds of other retailers. And it's effectively the same device. And yeah, I do the same thing. I look at something, I'm like, that looks like that's being remarketed. Let's see if I can find another version of it that's more to my needs.
And it's a little bit of archaeological experiment, because you're also trying to find out, well, where did this original creative idea come from? Was it maybe a failed Kickstarter? Was it, was it a small batch run? And maybe that person isn't manufacturing it. In that case, okay, then I'm okay buying the now more affordable mass manufactured thing. I've also come into storefronts where I go to a website and maybe I'm Googling a certain specific product, and these scammers have gotten so good at creating false storefronts that look like they're in a random, their home base is in a random city in Minnesota or in New York, right?
With phone numbers and addresses and everything.
US addresses, phone numbers. Some of those are real places. I'm not necessarily like calling them up, but they're always like these telltale signs. And I'm always Googling then the name of the retailer, how long that domain has been registered. Like lots of little things that you can do.
When I also want to point out that like right now, the major retailers are not taking a lot of responsibility for this. And I think that's getting worse. You know, so you can buy something that looks like it's a white label and it comes, you can buy something that looks like it's a major mass market retailer and you get it and it's actually an imitation.
I think maybe our audience is more aware of this than some others.
I think that's correct.
Like big retailers often act as intermediaries for, and just run the transactional aspect of a storefront for a small company. They might not even do inventory management, right? That's why sometimes you're buying stuff from a big box store and it's coming, from overseas. That's always something to be aware of.
And look, educating yourself about this doesn't mean that you can make yourself invulnerable to it. We are both highly attuned consumers who understand this space, and it still happens to us frequently. You can do reverse image searches for something that you're curious about. If there's a million storefronts with a million slight differences, that's definitely your hint that this is a single producer selling to multiple markets.
And for me, one of the biggest telltale signs is this price too good to be true?
Yeah, that is always the one.
Right? Does it feel like it's a deal?
Because it is.
If it's telling you they have X number left, that is sometimes a red flag as well. All these things to make it feel like you have to click purchase in the moment. Even when I Google something and it's in the shopping tab, they index a lot of these places that aren't real storefronts.
Look, it's hard to stay on top of this. We recognize that. It also, it happens to us with t-shirts. I'd say only about 10% of the Mythbusters or tested t-shirts mostly Mythbusters that come to my lines at cons, less than 10% of those are licensed. Most of those are just made by other people grabbing my quotes and throwing them on t-shirts. But if you want to know that you're supporting us for the stuff that we make, the only place you can go is adamsavage.com, tested-store.com. Hey, I got it right.
And we put links to stuff that you're purchasing that we're trying out, in the description of our videos. Let us know if those are outdated links. Right? Let us know if things out of stock. You can always put a new comment. We're checking those frequently. Let us know if there's a better place, if there's an originally sourced. We want to do better about that as well.
Yeah, and I want to tell you, we get letters from people who bought a t-shirt from a vendor that was a pirate, and it was, the decal washes off in the first laundry, and people write us complaining about our crappy product. And we want to make that customer happy. We'll often send them a shirt. Like that is that's part of our ethos. And, we'd love to know, I think, some of your mitigating strategies, other things that we haven't covered here, other places you guys look for, I mean, Wirecutter is still one of my favorite places for the real straight dope on stuff. And we need a lot more venues like Wirecutter to help us sift through this kind of thing.
I would say even forums and even YouTube, other YouTube videos are not as foolproof as they once were.
This is totally true.
There's a lot of people coming in and astroturfing those places, creating false comments on threads and even in Reddit. Sometimes I'll Google, is this site a scam? Or just Google the domain and I'll find a YouTube video that's asking the same question, but it's not giving me the truthful answer.
No way.
Yeah. It's getting harder and harder. I know. It's the new world we're living in.
It's the new world we live in. We really, really appreciate you guys reaching out, letting us know when people are using my face or Tessa's name to sell crappy products. That really makes a difference, and that is a great way to help. Another way you can help, go take a look at the video of Gary's beautiful fingers in the description and buy directly from the artist every time you can. I will tell you that because of all the delivery services taking a percentage from restaurants, even when you pick up at that restaurant, I use Apple Maps because that number I'm calling the direct brick and mortar place to order my thing. That's how hard it is to know you're actually benefiting the direct purveyor of the thing here.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah. It's a little bit of extra work, a lot of extra work. And like I said, like we fall for this stuff
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
Right?
All the time.
We absolutely feel for the people out there. But we're asking you to do that, help us and we to help you.
Absolutely. There are times I wistfully look at my delivered cart and be like, that never got here.
Yeah.
That never got here. Thanks you guys for joining us. We will see you next time.